Meth and sex. Crystal meth and sex. Let's face it, they work hand in hand and they do actually play together. And it's one of those, when you actually are sober and you think about it, and you literally think about how crystal meth is, to me, it was always a very dirty drug. It was never my drug of choice. I've done crystal meth before, never smoked it, never injected it. But I did snort it because, well, let's face it, when you lay it out like a line and you're not paying attention and you want to get high and you love cocaine and your nose is a vacuum, you will snort everything up. And yes, meth increases and blows up your sex drive. And when you really look back at it, this is the cringiest, just most nastiest, disgusting thing ever. And I share on these topics because I've found that a lot of people relate to them. We've all been there, and it helps remind us why we're sober. It's one of these that we look back at a lot of the things that we did in life and we're like, why did we do this? Like, what were we thinking when we did this? And we weren't. We were literally that much of an addict. And so when it comes to meth and sex, they play hand in hand, and this is what it's all like. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. What's up, guys? My name is Eric, and I'm a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. I like to share a lot of my stories and what I've been through in life for those who are looking for some words of advice, words of encouragement. They're looking for hope, because that was one of the things, especially when I wanted to get sober, I didn't think anyone could relate to me. And there was a lot of topics out there and a lot of things that I struggled with that I couldn't find stuff on, and no one would be honest and real with me on it until I got into like AA and when I realized that, holy shit, I'm not alone. And so I like to share on these topics. And one of them is when it comes to crystal meth and sex. Crystal meth and sex play hand in hand together. And why they play hand in hand together is, yes, crystal meth will make you horny. Just like a lot of stimulant drugs out there, it will make you horny. It increases your sex drive. I don't believe personally, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist. I don't believe it puts you into like hypersexuality, but it gives you this massive sex drive. And it's not like an ED sex drive, where if you take ED meds, that sex drive's a little different. Like you get touched and you're instantly aroused down there. I mean, like you're into the mood really easy and you're able to perform. Where when it comes to meth, you are high, you are doing this massive stimulant that is going through your brain-blood barrier. It is not like Adderall, so it's not going through your system very much. It's literally going right into your brain, right into your system. It's affecting your neurotransmitters. It's producing a massive amount of dopamine. When you have a lot of dopamine in your system, guess what? You get really horny. Why? Because it is a natural default, like dopamine, happiness. What increases that? Sex is something that's proven to increase even more dopamine production. So it's almost a defense mechanism of our body of almost, I always felt like trying to distract us from a drug to get us to do something else. But regardless, these are just my beliefs. They're not scientifically proven. But when it comes to it, yes, you instantly are easy to get into the mood. And let's face it, when you are doing meth, it's this weird balance between sex and it's a weird balance between doing the drugs. Because now you're high, you want to do the drug, or you want to have sex, but you also want to do the drug. So how do you do that? Guess who you're having sex with now? You are not having sex with anyone who's sober. And usually when we're an addict, we're not necessarily with an addict. And if you are living with an addict and you are in a trap house, you're there. You're living hell. And those that have been there and know about that know exactly what I mean. But for the ones that are these functioning addicts, we are trying to hide this, so you can't do this drug with somebody who's per se sober. You're hiding addiction from, so who are you going to do it with? Others that do it. Or others that are willing to look the other way, still have sex with you while you do it. And what ends up happening is at a certain point, there becomes too much into your system. That yes, you don't get hard. Like, yes, I know that there are people out there that, yeah, they can do some, and next thing you know, they are having sex nonstop for days on end almost. With me, it was different. I had a very obsessive mindset, so mine defaulted back more towards drugs and drug use. And so next thing you know, you are trying to balance this sex and drugs back and forth. That is a difficult balance to do. And you put yourself in just riskier situations. You put yourself in riskier environments. And the problem is that it is a happy endorphin, just dopamine rush into your system, and the drugs themselves are feeding that. So you crave sex. It's like this obsession craving, almost like you do a drug. That it almost plays hand in hand. It makes you feel that your high was better, your experience with that high was better. So you're constantly seeking different partners, just like you're constantly seeking drugs to keep getting this high. And that is the reality of what I found when it came to any kind of stimulants. When it came to cocaine, it came to meth. Let's face it, you aren't able usually to perform. And now all of a sudden you're not getting hard, you're not really able to have sex, but you're still trying. And so you're like sitting there with a wet noodle, doing whatever you think you can do, and you're probably paying the person because most people aren't going to be there for that kind of enjoyment. And so now you're even in riskier situations, because the bottom line is, when we are an addict, we do the dumbest things. And especially when you are an addict and something affects your sex drive and makes you horny and makes you want to have sex, and you're doing drugs, you go through massive lengths to do some of the edgiest, dumbest things in the world that put you in some of the most dangerous positions. Not to mention that you could have unprotected sex, you can end up catching different things. And again, it's bad all the way around, but we as an addict, you can't reason with us. And that's why I share these experiences and stories. So when it comes to meth and sex, they play hand in hand. For the one out there struggling with it, I got links down below to AA and NA. I mean, reach out. It helps just to hear other people's stories. It helps to hear people that can relate, so that you know that you're not alone. Click the like and follow button, comment down below, because the more that you share about this stuff, the more that you kind of get it out, you get it into your brain. It's almost like this reinforcement of like, dude, I gotta clean up my life. I gotta stop this. I gotta get sober. Especially before you ever catch anything, you bring anything home, you do anything that truly jeopardizes your life. So for the one out there struggling, you can do this. It's one day at a time, but reach out for help. And believe me, everybody around you knows that you're an addict or something's wrong. So the day that you decide that, hey, I need help, and you start telling everybody that, is the day that you're going to get help, and it is going to get better, and it is going to be worth it. So don't give up. You got this.